Okay, so we'll have him joining us from our studios in Abuja. So we might as well just go ahead. Hey, good morning, and thank you for coming on today. Well, for NAPE, one wonders, look, we know that they needed a little bit of time to ensure that the airlines are put in proper shape and things go well. From your perspective, do you think that all is well for this one, Mr. Isaac?
Yeah, well, by the grace of God, I think all is well. From the Aviation Ministry, led by the Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, down to the DG of the Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, the MD of FAN, Captain Yadudu, the MD of the Nigerian Airspace Management Authority, Captain Fola Akinkotu, and other key stakeholders in the industry, including the airlines themselves. Of course, first of all, to take away the fears of passengers, definitely, first of all, the continuing airworthiness of the aircraft itself is the responsibility of the airline owners, strictly adhered to by the NCAA regulation, the guidelines, the maintenance procedure. But when it comes to the COVID-19, I think demonstration has been carried out, and it's obvious that the minister made it clear that we are about 95% ready as at few days or few weeks ago. The good thing also is, I think we all know what we need to do. As far as COVID is concerned, everybody around the world is aware of the precautions that need to be put in place. As far as our airports are actually concerned, when you talk about the social distancing, when you talk about the checks at the entrance of the airport, the fact that the airlines have tried to see how they can disinfect all the aircraft, the airport terminal by the FAAN, that's FAN. I think a lot have been done, and passengers themselves, you know, there have been a lot of awareness by the NCDC in the last few months, and I think we just need to go back to work. I mean, we cannot just sit down at home and keep complaining. I think the damage is already there. Yes, of course, safety first, but we just need to go back and see how we can get the country running again.
Sometimes when we talk about safety, security at the airport, especially safety at the airport, we talk a lot more about the passengers. We do not always talk about those who manage the flights. How is that going to be managed? What kind of rehearsal, if any, was done to ensure that the people who work to ensure that the airlines, aircraft, the air flights are also safe? What kind of preparations have been made for them as well? Are they also going to be 100% at the office, or they have reduced the number of people to go to the office?
Of course, there's a drastic reduction in the people that goes to the office. For the civil servant, I think it's clear that level 14 upward is mostly senior civil servant. For the private sector, that is for the airlines now, is also the same thing. It's even more, I mean, there's even more caution as far as I am concerned, because nobody wants to contaminate his or her facility. The truth of the matter is that, yeah, our members, well, I am the former NAPE president, so, but of course, I am still a member. Not just pilot, aircraft engineers, the air hostesses, you know, also the baggage handlers, the flight dispatchers, and what have you, and other support staffs in the aviation industry, you know, the ground support staff as well. I think in the last conference calls that we've been having with the Aviation Ministry, with NCAA, it's obvious that all stakeholders, you know, have agreed to comply, and I think they have already complied. Even in the office, all this safety culture has to be strictly adhered to. There's no any airline I am aware of or any ground handling company that has not gone through this COVID-19 training. It's online, and some have done their own in their training school, because most airlines actually have a training school in the airport. And all that training for the captains, for the co-pilots, for the air hostess, for the engineers, for the flight dispatch, for the baggage handlers, for the ticketing officers, and what have you, everybody has gone through that. And I think that was part of the requirement that NCAA, you know, set forth. And I'm happy to say that we are good to go. So there's no cause for any alarm. I think if you want to fly, just get ready and get your ticket.
That reminds me of when you get out of the aircraft. Well, so far, the information we have is that the number of passengers on any aircraft is not going to be reduced. Consequently, there could be that crowding when you want to get your luggage. What happens?
No, you see, I mean, people have been going to the banks for God's sake. You know, when you go to the bank, that we have a lot of people doesn't mean that you all choke up to have access to the bank. You have to queue. Most of the banks have even provided place to stand, you know, with proper 1.5 meters, 2 meters distancing and what have you. I think the airport, I think in the last demonstration by the Minister of Aviation himself, it is obvious, it is clear that all these things have been put in place, that you have even 2 aircraft landing at the same time does not mean that everybody will just go to the conveyor belt to go and get his or her bag or her luggages. We need to queue, we need to observe social distancing, we need to ensure that our face masks are on all the time. You know, we need to also ensure that even when you use the restroom and whatever, so all those precautions are there. And I think NCDC has done a great job. And I think Nigerians, I mean, this 3 months has been hell for everybody. So it's a collective responsibility, not just by the airline owners or by the aviation industry itself, but everybody, passengers, everybody has to put hand on deck to ensure that we make this happen. So it's just to adhere strictly to the rules, it's just to queue up, it's just to behave in a civilized manner. I think Nigerians are civilized people.
Any message, did you get any? Did NAPE members get any message whatsoever from, say, the Ministry of Aviation that everyone must subject themselves to COVID-19 tests before they are certified fit to resume work?
Well, personally, I just left Lagos, so the headquarters of NAPE is in Lagos. I've not read that. I've not catch up with because I've been busy on transit in the last few days. But the point is that everybody actually knows that. Everybody is already doing it because you don't even want to go and contaminate your own family. So that you're going out or you're going in is you have to look after yourself. These are things that are basic. It's not the, I mean, we don't have to even wait for the minister to even tell us. People are doing these things on their own. I did mine. Everybody is doing his own. So we have to be very, very careful. And I think there's no any issue with that.
Don't you think that it shouldn't be left, you know, the whims and caprice of people because everyone don't think alike? In order for the ministry to demonstrate that seriousness to passengers and give them that confidence to fly, they should have mandated everyone in that sector to go for that test so that they can lead the way and ensure that confidence gets to the people that, look, we have done this test. At the moment, we are free.
Well, like I told you, I know that most pilots and engineers that I know of have done the test. The airline, what I don't know is I don't know if that instruction came from the Ministry of Aviation or the NCAA, but that is being done already.
Doing it, but you know, on a final note, I mean, air travel is meant to be fast. A lot of people go there because of the speed and convenience and what have you. But with the new guidelines, you need to be at the airport hours before your flight, and then trying to get your baggage also. It will take quite some time. So what's the average time frame that we're looking at now when it comes to traveling?
Well, of course, it has doubled. I think even before now, you will agree with me that if you buy your ticket, they said, please try and be in the airport 1 to 2 hours before your flight. So now it's 2 to 3 hours. So there's an increase of about 1 hour just to ensure that there's no rush, there's no pressure on people, you know, running late because you have to check in your luggages, you have to check your temperature, you have to disinfect your hands and what have you. So there are so many processes that has now come up. And that little increase in time, I think for our safety is actually worth it. It's just to be patient. If you're traveling, let's say by 12 o'clock, yeah, by 9, 10 o'clock, you should be in the airport early enough. Not like before, you know, Nigerians, we love this rush of a thing. You see somebody coming to the airport 40 minutes before his or her flight when they have already closed the manifest has been submitted to the captain, because it takes time to even process your luggage, you know, and to put it on the aircraft. So all these processes, you know, there's no room for that anymore. So the best thing is you come to the airport on time so that you can be rest assured that you don't miss your flight.
Well, we also hope that the airlines will also not delay any flights anymore, because some cases you spend 4 hours waiting for your flight and they tell you, oh, it's unavoidable, some logistics matter. We hope that that will become history as well.
Well, you see, one thing about this mission of, you see, no any airline, and I tell you this, no any airline will deliberately want to delay flight for 3
It's
4,
the same
5
thing.
hours.
No passenger wants to deliberately go
Sometimes
late
these
and
factors
miss
are
their
beyond
flight.
this.
No passenger wants to deliberately miss their flight.
Yeah, true, of course. So there must be a balance.
All right.
The airlines, of course, they will always been doing our best. It's not easy to operate in this country, trust me. You know what I mean?
All right.
To operate a flight in Nigeria is tough. It's not easy. A lot of forces against
All right,
you.
then. Thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. Isaac Balami is the former president of NAFI. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.